So I have so much stuff that I want to talk about with the Love Island USA. Like, oh my goodness. So when they first did their matches, I literally did not think Kayla was gonna go for Aaron. I was like, oh, she's definitely gonna go for Rob. And then she went for Aaron. I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And then he's like, I don't know, I don't really see the attraction to him. Like, he seems like a nice guy and he seems very friendly with all the girls, but like I don't really see like what is so like great about him. Anyway, then like throughout the episodes I've been like, oh, he seems to kind of have like a wandering eye. Like every time a new bombshell comes in, he's kind of like, oh, she's like, he's, I don't know if he's peer pressured by the other guys, but like he kind of just like, oh yeah, she's so pretty, like blah blah blah. And the only reason he hasn't been able to get with one of them was because they didn't like him back. Like it's not like he hasn't been exploring his options in the villa, which is why I was annoyed why he was so annoyed about Kaylor getting to know Connor when it was literally like, you've tried to get to know other bombshells. Like, why are you being such a bitch about this? Anyway, and then I like, when they were all going to Casa Amor, I was like, oh, he's definitely like, he's like him and Cordell were the only two guys where I was like, okay, like they might not go to Casa. Like Miguel, I was like, okay, like he doesn't really have any loyalty to Leah. Like obviously this man's playing the game. We've seen what a smooth talker he is. But I kind of had hope for like Aaron and Cordell. And like to be fair, I did feel really bad for Cordell in the very beginning of like the Love Island episodes. I was like, oh my god, this poor man. He's just being like strung along, and Serena's just like using him to like stay in the villa and wait until like somebody better comes along. And like when she changed like their friendship relationship back to a romantic relationship right before there was a recoupling, I was like, oh, like girl, you just like showed all your cards. But then like when she went on that date, I forget who it was because he got like kicked off, I think, because he was actually so annoying. I forget what his name is. He was like, he came in with like that Kenny guy. Oh my god, I think his name is Kenny. The two bombshells that came in with the blonde chick. And I was like, oh my goodness, like this man is so disrespectful to Liv. I was like, oh my goodness, like actually, like, oh, it seemed like you didn't want a partner. Like, fuck, now she's regretting her decision, you dumbass. Um, anyway, so back to my main point. When she went on a date with him, I think his name was Emmett. I'm gonna go with Emmett, and if it's not Emmett, oh well. But she goes on a date with Emmett, and he tries to get her to kiss him. And she kind of is like, no, like, that's disrespectful. I'm not gonna do that. So then I was like, wait, she's like stayed true to her values even when they did the body count thing. I think she had one of the lowest body counts, and I was like, okay, so clearly you're like really being serious about taking things slowly and you're not using it as a way to just like keep Cordell at arm's length. Anyway, when they got to Casa More, I was like, oh, like obviously like Aaron and Cordell, they would like sleep on the daybed, right? Oh my goodness, no, they go feral. Like they just got let out of their cages. And I think that's the thing that like pisses me off about these like, oh, these men so much. Like they're all kind of like assholes. Like I haven't watched that much Love Island. Like I watched like the Love Island UK with like Luca Bish and like, I think I said his name wrong. Anyway, and Gemma Owens, and I loved them, and like Ekin Su and Davide. But I like this Love Island, these men are so unloyal. Like maybe it's the Love Island US though. Like I haven't really watched the other Love Island USA, so maybe it's just like the US guys, which like I kind of get. But it's like actually crazy. And I mean, Aaron's not even American, so like why are you acting like a psychopath? Anyway, I feel like he kind of just used Kaylor so that they could be like this perfect couple, and then that's why he was kind of like ready for Casa Amor. I don't know if he will bring that girl back in. Like, I feel like he wants to have his fun, and then he's gonna go back to Kaylor. Like, I think he just wanted to, like, hook up with some chick and then go back to Kaylor. He wanted to just hook up with somebody else. And I don't know about Cordell. And I think this girl is playing him, and I don't really, like, no offense to her, but I don't like the sound of her voice. Like, why are you speaking so timidly? Are you not, like, 20 years old? Older? 20 years old, I guess you can still be speaking that timid. But, like, I'm sorry, maybe I shouldn't be making fun of some girl's voice, but, like, actually, like, why are you speaking like somebody's about to smack you? Like, please, like, speak up, girl. Anyway, they had like, every time I saw Cordell and Serena on screen, I would be like, I'm not skipping anything. Like, I literally love them together. When they did their little dance together and everything, I was like, why are you guys so cutie? But now he's just like making me really regret that, because I honestly, like, I was so shocked that he was the one that like immediately switched. Because like Aaron, like, okay, like, I see that Aaron seems like the type of player guy. I mean, he works on a like one of those like boat things, like a below deck kind of guy. Like, of course he's gonna be like ready to get down and dirty anytime, anywhere. He doesn't care if he's dating somebody. Whereas like Cordell, I was like expecting, I don't know, I was expecting him to be like, I don't even, like, I was just expecting him to be like really respectful, because that's all we've seen from him so far. And then the fact that he's like not respectful at all is like so irritating, because I was like, I was rooting for you. I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. But now I kind of like, I don't even know what relationship like is good. Like, I don't know, like Liv and Rob, I was kind of excited for. Like, that seemed interesting because they seem to have gotten so much closer as friends. And then it was like, oh, maybe there is a spark here. But like, obviously, he's not gonna wait around for Liv. He definitely go for this new girl. I forget who he's talking to. And like, people were hating on the bombshells. They came into the girls' villa, and like the Casa Amor bombshells were crazy, and I completely agree. The only Casa Amor bombshell who I'm like, oh, she's not that bad, is the blonde one, because I think all the other ones like really know what they're doing, whereas the guys are like, oh my goodness, like, did you just like, I don't know, they're just like not the like bombshell test type, you know what I mean? Like, they just kind of don't give that energy. And I feel like all the guys that have come in have not been that attractive. Like, when I'm thinking of like bombshell, I kind of think of like Rob. Like, I think Rob would be like a good bombshell, but like obviously he came in at the very beginning. And like, speaking of Rob, actually, I'm gonna go into this. I like Rob as his looks. His looks are really good. I see what the girls are after. His personality, though, just makes me like upset, because I feel like every time a girl has a conversation with him, she has to like pull him out of his shell. Like, every single conversation he's had. And the Andrea situation was really weird, because I understand, like, in the moment you're gonna be like, no, I'll come with you, I'll come with you, like, don't worry about it. But like, at the same time, like, that's kind of, that's like, why do you want to like lie to her? Like, of course you're not gonna go with her. Like, be fucking for real. But I wasn't sure if he was like messing with it or if he was being for real. And then when I was like, oh, like, I think it was Janae who was like, oh, it's so weird that he was, or maybe it was Liv. It was Liv or Janae that was like, oh, that's so weird. Like, nobody asked him to be like, oh, I'm going with her, I'm going with her. And then you just don't go with her. Like, nobody was like expecting you to do that. So I kind of agree with Leah about him being a drama queen. And speaking of Leah, look at me segueing. I really like Leah, but I think like there's something off about her. And like, I understand like, oh, once the chase is over, you're like not into it anymore. But at the same time, I just think it's weird the way, I completely forget, because it was so far away. If she was like, she obviously wasn't a backseat in the decision. That was a weird way to phrase it. And her being like, oh, my definition of backseat is different than your definition of backseat. It's like, no, girl, like, all the definitions are the same. Like, that means you weren't really involved in the decision making when clearly you had a vote. And I think it's weird that you kick off this girl that Rob's so close with, and then like the next day or even the day of, you're literally like chatting to him again. Like, he did you dirty. He's a disrespectful man. Like, why would you go back to that? He's already proven that he'll disrespect you, which I thought was weird from her. But I think she does have good points about Rob being like theatrical, and I think that was really like, yeah, like him going and standing up beside her and being like, "No, you sent three off." It's like, buddy, like, calm down. It's okay. Like, you don't need to make a big show of it. You've only been with this girl for like a couple of days. It's not that big a deal if like she's leaving and you like. I would understand if like Kaylor was going and Aaron was like, no, I'm going with her. I'd be like, okay, like, I get that, because she's been there since day one. You've been there since day one. Obviously, you two are gonna be like wanting to be together. Okay, so sorry. I just went back and his name's Nigel. It's not at all Emmett. So I will, yeah. So every time I said Emmett, his name's Nigel, and Kenny was right. I don't know why I was thinking Emmett. Anyway, somebody else I really didn't like was Hakeem. And I think he did like the same kind of stuff that Nigel did to Liv. Like all these guys that Liv has to deal with just like go crazy when they're with her. And like it's kind of concerning. It's like what is happening? That's really weird. Anyway, I don't know. I think I've always found Casa Amor so weird because it's like, do these girls like you're obviously seeing the show, so you like see some of these people's connections, and you decide like, oh, I'm gonna like really force myself on this boy, even though I see that he has a really good connection with somebody else. Like I just don't understand like how I would really need to get paid to do that, because I'm not like saying anything about them, like those women in particular, but it's just like it's just a weird concept because in the outside world you're not going to have people who are literally trying so hard so they get back into the villa with you. And I don't know, I just really like it. Just the men in this season have just really pissed me off. And I think maybe that's because the last like season of Love Island I was watching like Gemma and Luca, and Luca was literally like sleeping outside during Casa Amor. So I kind of like thought that like, oh, every season a guy probably does this where he like stays true to his girl. But like none of them are. And these Love Island producers are merciless. The way they're showing like Kayla and Serena like talking about how much they miss their men and like blah blah blah, and then to like flip to like Aaron and Cordell like fully making out with somebody else. I'm like, oh my goodness, like it actually. And at the end, I'm on episode 20. The end of that episode, I was literally like crying for Kayla. I was so upset because she just like, I just, I thought it was weird. Number one, that they didn't make it official. So I messed that up. So the last um Love Island that I watched was the one with like Sammy Root and I forgot what the other girl's name is, like Jess or something, winning the finals. And I think that was with like Ella and Ty. I think they got second. And I forget, but I feel like they should make it official more on Love Island. You know what I mean? Like, I would like really, like, once I'm feeling somebody, once we've gone through like 2, 3 weeks, like 3 weeks, and I'm really feeling this person, I think I would make it official. Like, I just don't understand why you wouldn't make it official. Again, this is kind of like a tactic though, so like maybe people are like, oh, I don't want to play the game, even though half the time they're like, I want to play the game. But like, they don't want to, they're like, no, I don't want to play that game, I just want to remain open. Like, I feel like that just seems greedy. Like, if something's really working with somebody, then you make it official. And then when you go to Casa Amor, they can't do anything, number one, because you made it official. But now it's no longer like, oh, like, I'm testing my relationship by making out with this girl. And now it's like, oh, like, I'm testing my relationship by even being around these people. So, like, anyway, that's what I think. That is my tactic. If I was on Love Island, if I was with someone consistently for 3 weeks, I would like make it official. And I would not let that man escape me. But another person who I forgot to mention is Kendall. And I really like Kendall. I think he's a really funny guy and he's really supportive to the girls and everything. But he is not a good friend for the boys. Like, Cordell, like, I think all the guys have something out for Serena just because she likes to be slow with things. And I feel like Serena got a lot of hate. Like, even I, at the beginning, was like, oh, like, why are you being so slow? Like, Cordell's such a great guy. Like, why are you. The one thing I think she did that I really didn't like was when she was like, oh, like, we'll be a friend couple, basically, is what she said. Like, we're friends. And I think that was where I was like, okay, that's weird. I wasn't really bothered by her being like, oh, let's go slowly with things, because like I totally understand that. You're not on like Too Hot to Handle or like Perfect Match. Like, you can go slowly with things. It's Love Island, you have 6 weeks. Like, you literally are meant to go slow with this. It's a long show. I think people use that against her and be like, oh, it's 6 weeks, that's such a short amount of time. No, that's a long amount of time. Like, yes, girl, like, get your slow burn. And I think I also liked, at first, I wasn't able to see that she was consistent with being like, I need this to go slowly. And, it clearly shows that, like, Cordell, if there was somebody else, he would have jumped onto her immediately. And not to say like Serena wouldn't, but like obviously again, she would take her time, just like how with Nigel when he tried to kiss her, she took her time with it and was like, "No, like I'm not going to do that on the first date. That's disrespectful to my man." And I totally respect that. And I totally get that. And I'm like, that is so good. And Cordell did go for Nicole, and that didn't work out, and he went back with Serena. And then they were working so well. And like clearly he could not handle the slow burn. And I didn't really think he could. Like I was like, this man does not seem like he can handle a slow burn. Like he like immediately him and Day are like making out. So like I it's like you can't say, oh like oh it's okay, that doesn't bother me, and then like immediately as soon as you're out of your sight, you're like, okay, now I'm gonna go make out with this girl. And I just find that so annoying because I really loved Cordell. Him and Serena were my favorite couple. And then I really liked I didn't like Aaron and Kaylor separately, but Kaylor's really grown on me. I used to be like, oh my god, this bitch is so stupid. Like, I really don't like her. But she's really grown on me, and I've been like, wait, she's kind of a sweetie. I really like her. And I think she kind of gets like I don't know. I think in the beginning she got a couple of like bad kind of edits, and I was like, oh, like, you do not look good, girl. But she's really like gotten back up to that place, and I think also I just like feel so bad for her now too, with the whole Aaron situation, that I'm really like, oh, I'm just like rooting for her. Like she deserves somebody so much better. But I don't think her and Connor could have ever been a thing. Like I definitely don't see that. And I remember I was on Reddit or something, and somebody was saying, oh, she should go for Rob. And I low-key kind of agree with that. Like, just screw Aaron up so badly and go for Rob and screw their friendship up. But I don't know if Rob would go for that. But Rob is low-key kind of disrespectful, so he might. Speaking of Rob being disrespectful, his whole like thing with Leah about the lies and like her like blah blah blah, at first I was on his side. I was like, yes, like get her. Like I think I mentioned this previously. Like I was like, get her. Like you got this. Get her. And then as I started to like listen more to it, I was like, wait a second. You're also in the wrong. Like you cannot be throwing stones. You are also in a glass house, my boy. Like simmer down, sit down, and be quiet. And I just think that Aaron is like him and Aaron together piss me the fuck off. Like actually just couple up with each other at that point. And I just, I don't know. The guys in this Love Island have just really disappointed me. And I've just been so like, on like even the body count thing was really weird how they would clap when a woman had a low body count. And then when one of the boys had a high body count, it's like, ooh, like, good job, man. Like, you're so experienced. It's like, oh my god. The double standard is crazy. And I just like, do you not know that you're being filmed? Like, you're on TV. Like, people are gonna see this and be like, oh, I don't like you. Do they not know this? Like, are they not, do they not know they're on Love Island? Anyway, that is my thoughts on Love Island season 6. I've watched up to episode 20. I think episode 21 comes out today, and then the next ones come out in like 2 days. And I'm really excited, and I really, really, really hope Kaylor doesn't get back with Aaron, or somebody's talking about how when they get the postcard, I really hope Serena and Kaylor see it and they just get to have fun and not think about their stupid ass men, and they sleep inside instead of sleeping outside like how their men should be. Anyway, thanks for listening. I just really want to rant. I don't really do this, but this show has really just been like getting me agitated. And I'm watching Love Island UK right now at the same time. So maybe I'll have thoughts on that too.